don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this very bland, special episode of the Political Spotlight. My name is Kristopher Bilbrey. I am your host, Kristopher H. Bilbrey. Don't forget the H. It's very important. My producer Kate, is down at the controls. Thank God. I got a message right before going live that she was going to be away, and logged on, got in the studio to find her here. So that's amazing. It was a miscommunication on my part. That's why you should never read a text message and apply it to right now that was sent hours and hours and hours ago. So that's what I get for looking at the time, not looking at the time, rather. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to discuss, a lot going on. Today's been a big long day. And I am not really flying at 100%. So bear with me. We've got a lot of stuff going on. I'm in the process of trying to get this shared in the places that it needs to be shared. Stand by here one moment as we finish that up. Man, I'm telling you, as we're getting closer and closer to this election is playing on people in really strange ways. I've got so much going on. I did a lot today for actually having. So here's what happened. After we got off live last night, I don't like for things to not be just so. I think maybe if you've watched for any time at all, you understand that I have a little bit of obsessive compulsive issues, and I don't like for things to be out of whack. I don't like for things to be not as they should be. I like order in my life. And listen, there is a lot of chaos in my life, but it is an orderly chaos. It's my chaos. And so I have not liked for the last, I like our branding to be like on point. And it's funny to me because I'm watching another show currently, one of my go-to political podcasts that I watch, which is the Matt and Blonde show. I'm currently watching them devolve and kind of blow up in front of the viewer's eyes, as the host and co-host currently have split up and are going separate ways. And the host literally just went through and spent like $500 on branding and completely rebranded stuff. And then, like, the moment he signs off on the proofs and pays the guy, they broke up. What a nightmare. So, I got off the program last night and I spent all night working on like rebranding things. Basically, nothing changes. You guys will not be able to tell the difference. But instead of our stuff saying the political spotlight, Bilbrey, Rudd, Thornburg, Sunday through Thursday at 9 p.m. First of all, the very first change that affected me is when I've never ever used the Central Time, Standard Time, Eastern Time stuff before. And so when I very first started branding for the political spotlight, I looked it up and I used EST. Well, 6 months ago, I found out that's technically wrong. One of them is ET and one of them is EST. But if you don't want to switch back and forth, the standard to just use is ET. You can see it up there where it says the political spotlight, Bilbrey, Rudd, Thornburg, Sunday through Thursday at 9 p.m. ET, Eastern Time. So I slowly went through and corrected all of that everywhere I could, and I finally got that done. And I kind of did the same thing he did. I literally corrected it after I just ordered business cards. So all of our business cards still say EST on it. It's not that big a deal. Okay. I can live with that because it basically means the same thing, but it's just a little wrong. However, when we went to Rumble here recently, all of our artwork and everything essentially had the YouTube address because YouTube was home. Well, Rumble is such a big platform that I consider it like the second home link. So I wanted to put Rumble on everything. So I went through and I changed. So this is what, instead of our home screen looking like this, and this is what it's always looked like, except down underneath Thursday, from Thursday to ET at the bottom was a red link that said YouTube / at the political spotlight. Well, now it says YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, X. That's the 4 main platforms where you can find us live in video and audio. Now, we also have the Fireside link where you can find just the audio, and there are other places that you can find just the audio, all sorts of podcast platforms. But those 4 places are where you can find the main show live and on replay. So I went through and I changed all of our rebranding to that. I changed all of this. Now, let me tell you, in doing that in our system, I even changed this. Now, it's not changed for this. Like tomorrow, this says YouTube at Political Spotlight. But from now on, when you see this screen, it will also have all 4 of those things up there. Instead of just the YouTube, it will have those 4 things: YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, X. And so I went through and I changed that like everywhere. And I didn't just like change those like screens. I had to go to Canva, and I changed our intro. So the intro looks like this now. And the outro looks the same. And, I changed all of that stuff. Well, I spent like literally all night doing that. And I crawled into bed to go to sleep at about 6:30 this morning. And right as I was laying down, I was like, I think I should go pee first, but I didn't. I was tired, so I laid down. Well, my body woke me up like at 7:20 to go use the bathroom, and then my grandmother calls and she was like, "Hey," and so then that set me down a whole nother thing, and I spent a whole day doing a bunch of work and doing things, family stuff and whatever. So it was what it was. During that time, however, I missed a lot of things that I should have been doing. However, because of technology, we have those things on TV. We have those things on YouTube that we can go back and look at. And in the time that I was away, and it's important to sometimes be away from things like this, something happened, and that was everybody else has finally become aware of the death of the Delaware County Republican Party. Tonight's episode is called The Death of the Delaware County GOP, and we're going to be talking about that. And I can tell you, I'm here for it. I'm excited. I can't be any more excited about this. I finally come to the realization the other day, I have been saying it wrong all of this time. Even back when Victor Whitehead was in control of the party, Victor was the chair and Jessica Piper was the vice chair. I was saying, someone needs to step in and fix this. We need to step in. We need to step in and fix this. No, we need to let the GOP party in Delaware County continue to be smothered out by Ed and Jessica and other like-minded dimwit nitwits. Let them smother. We're going to talk about James King tonight, GW. Amazingly, we're going to talk about James King. We're going to talk about James King. We're going to talk about Mike Jones. We're going to talk about the Delaware County Council meeting that occurred today. We're going to talk about the Delaware County Republican Party. Towards the end, we might talk a little bit more. I really am tired of this topic. I don't want to talk about Rob Kendall and the his selling out to the establishment hacks. But I feel like we have to a little bit more. He was taking shots at our show this morning. Listen, I'm going to tell you, I don't talk about things that don't matter. If I am talking about something, it's because the rumor is heavy, the information is real, and the information is pertinent. All right. I don't come on here and talk about the things that I hear that are meaningless or that don't matter to me. You know how much stuff I hear from people that doesn't matter anything, just totally doesn't matter. The fact that Beckwith and Braun and the Republican Party and Kendall is talking about this is an important thing. And I got to thinking, Rob's like, well, it's all about me. It's all about me. They're making me part of the story. Da, 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 da. No, sir. You have become a politico when you bow out from being whatever it is that you are. I don't know if he claims to be a journalist. I don't know if he claims to be a commentator, but whatever perspective he had at that point, he went out the window when just like Judas, he stepped up and said, "My 30 pieces of silver, please." So we're going to talk about that, but that's going to be at the end. Frank says, "Did a person contact you today, Chris, about another possible lawsuit against Henry County and Newcastle Police? Got a feeling they're going to get messy. They did this person wrong." Yes. However, I need to talk to that person because I don't know that I can talk about that. I want to because the person isn't, first of all, non-political, meaning, well, there's a business involved. So while that did happen, and I think there's a lot to talk about there. I think it's a big issue. I need to double check with that person before I can cover that. That does not mean that there is not Sproles stuff. I did get some pretty big news today, and we're not going to cover this tonight. We'll probably do this later in the week. So for all of you Sproles people that have been asking me, is there Sproles stuff? Is there Sproles stuff? Yes, as of today, there is now Sproles stuff, and it's big, and we will cover this, but I've got to do it. I've got to do justice to it. So we will do a Sproles watch video this week. I hate saying this because I know that you guys are going to be like, it'll probably be Thursday because I have to have enough time. But let me tell you, it's big. And just let this keep you satisfied till then. It's going to be big because remember when he was like, these lawsuits are frivolous. These lawsuits are, I can't wait till my day in court because I'm going to prove every one of these. Just remember that statement. Keep that statement in your mind. Nothing to do with my lawsuit. We're still just plugging along, doing our thing. But just keep in mind his thing. Yeah, probably so, just because of what we've got coming up over the next couple of days. So, okay, while we're getting ready to get into this, please, please, please do not let the fact that we are getting ready to get into the juice, and the juice is going to be loose, do not let that stop you from feeding the algorithm machine, going through and clicking that like button, subscribing to the show if you're not, and doing everything that you know that you need to do, because it is YouTube and Rumble and all of the other programs, and that's what keeps us relevant in the algorithms. So please do your part. We don't ask you for money. If you want to give us money, that would be great, but we don't ask you for money. You get this content for free. I do a lot of this work for you people, and the least you can do is click the like button, damn it. So, all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, do you all remember last week when I put up the post that talked about the Republican Party coming to an end listen, I think that it needs to happen basically everywhere, honestly. I think it probably needs to happen nationally. I think the Republican Party sucks on the national level. Now, listen, I hate anytime that I do this. Anytime that I point fingers at Beckwith, anytime that I point fingers at Dan Ridenour, anytime that I point fingers at Missy Williams and the pie guy over in Winchester, or anytime that I point fingers at Russ Willis and Linda Smith over in Madison County, and Sproles and all of the idiots down in Henry County and everything going on everywhere. Anytime that I do that, the very first thing that people say is, oh, he's a Democrat. Oh, this is coming from the left. Blah, blah. I'm not a Democrat, man. Look, I was a police officer. And if I would have seen a fellow police officer doing something wrong, I would have called that police officer out. I would have reported bad actions from a fellow police officer. I would have reported someone violating someone's rights. I didn't stand for that then. I wouldn't stand for it now. I don't stand for, if we cannot clean our own backyards, then how can we ever expect anyone else to clean the yards? Or, moreover, why would we believe that we can clean someone else's backyard? Better yet, for those of you that are biblically minded, I will, do the Beckwith thing here and throw out some Bible references for you. Pick the plank out of your own eye before picking the splinter out of your eye before picking the plank out of mine. Yada yada yada. Okay, it's very relevant here to what I'm saying. The people that immediately look at someone calling someone out and saying, well, they have to be the opposite side, those people are mindless, and it's insane to me. So I, for a very long time, have had a problem with how the Delaware County Republican Party has operated, because of the fact that, to me, I see the function of the political party at the county level to have two jobs. Two jobs. One is to bring people into the party, bring similar, like-minded individuals who have a similar overall political belief. Now, there might be differences within that. It's a political spectrum, if you will, but that have a Republican level thought. The Democrat Party is responsible for pulling in people who have a Democrat level of thought, and that you could be different within those, but that's the thing. Libertarian does the same thing with libertarians and every party that there is. On the county level, their responsibility is to bring people in and to make them feel welcome and bring them in to be part of the team, so that the candidates that run can have support, so that the I see that there, Bree, that's hilarious. So that the candidates that run can have support, so there could be a network of people, so you can get an understanding of ideas, and so that you can be strong. The second job they have is to serve the candidates. Serve the candidates that are running, help them in their efforts. That's your only two jobs. But so many of our local parties have gotten it twisted. They have gotten into thinking that they need to go hard in the paint for the national people. They feel like it's been their responsibility to go hardcore for the state people. No. In this situation, this flows down. it flows in both directions, but the local people should be getting help from the state and the national people to bring money and power and credibility in. And then what the local party gives back to the state and to the national is votes. It's a network of people. It's people who will be here to work when you come into the area, and you know, your candidate running for Indiana Senate to go to Washington, you know, and you come into Delaware County, you know, you don't necessarily know anyone here, so you go to the party and you count on the party to help you do the work. Well, they can't very well do that if the party is a shriveled up, dead raisin on the grapevine. Okay. And that's what both of the parties in Delaware County currently are. Most of these parties everywhere are like this. And it's because none of them want to bring in fresh meat, fresh blood, new ideas, young people, differing opinions within the same belief. You know, there are several ways to look at being a constitutional conservative, and there are people that have differing beliefs. But if you all fall under the category of being conservative, in my opinion, you should all be welcomed into the party. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you would bring someone in who's got some wild view and immediately make them an officer and put them at the head of the party. You would bring them in and you would work with them, and you know, you would cultivate what you've got, and you would talk about ideas and you would listen. And that's the one thing that happens. The political party's ideas can change and evolve over time to, you know, to fit various thoughts, and you should have robust discussion and conversation and debates and talk. That is common sense. That's how the parties used to be. The political parties are going the way of, like, for those of you that have any understanding or have spent any time or have family that spent any time in the Masonic Lodge. Okay. So I don't know. Let me get to the comments here and see what we got going on. Oh, Mike is on mouthwash. Oh, I bet that's an interesting. Damn, that's the hard thing about going on at 9 o'clock. That I hate that. Missing out on things like that. That will be interesting. I hope they hold him accountable. Over there. Anyways, getting back to my train of thought here. The Masonic Temple is not a thing anymore because the Masons always had this thing that they didn't go out recruiting. To be a Mason, you would ask a Mason, and they would, you know, kind of count on this thing. And basically what happened is, over time, people quit asking, and, you know, there was no kind of nothing to kind of bolster the ranks. And so, you know, the Masonic lodges, there are, for a lot of them, you know, tended to be 80 and 90-year-old men that were shriveling up and slowly dying away, and the lodges were getting smaller and smaller and smaller. All right. And now this is not a statement on, you know, go out and be a Mason or don't be a Mason. You know, I'm not saying that. I'm just using them as an example. The Republican Party and the Democrat Party, all parties are very similar to this, specifically local. And I'm talking about here in the state of Indiana, from what I've seen. Okay. That the parties are a dying thing because they are not welcoming in new blood. You know, we've got people that want to be Republicans, that feel like they're Republicans, that believe the core central values of being, you know, a conservative, constitutionalist, you know, and wanting to add to the local betterment of the community and whatnot. And then the Republican Party says, no, you don't look exactly like our careful, cultivated image. And so therefore we are not welcoming you. We do not want you. And that has been happening for years and years. I became very, very vocal when Victor Whitehead ran the party. And I took a lot of heat for that because people said, well, Victor is winning. Victor is winning. Victor wasn't winning anything. Victor was heading the party. The Republican candidates were running. There were no Democrats running against them. They won. And everybody was like, yay, look, Victor is bringing us to a victorious, you know, rebirth of the Republican Party in the Muncie City and Delaware County government, where everybody's a Republican and there is no difference of thought and there is no difference of opinion. And how dare you speak outside, you know, outside the family against one of us? Not a good thing. Not a good thing. And I oftentimes spoke out about Victor. And then in July of 2022, when Victor cashed it in and said, you know what, to hell with this, I'm not the chairman anymore, I was finally happy. And then they kept the vice chair, Jessica Piper, in place. She was going to be the vice chair. She was the vice chair under Victor. She was the vice chair under the new person. They brought in the only other person that they could have found worse than Victor, which was Ed Carroll. Ed has led this party down, 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 down. So this past Saturday was the Lincoln Day dinner. 17 days. Right now, as we speak, as this is going live to you on Tuesday evening, there are 14 days before the election. 14 days until the election is here. However, on Saturday, there were 17. And they canceled that party. They canceled the party because there was lack of interest in showing up to the Lincoln Day dinner, which is a day of celebration, a day of getting together and making things run smoothly and talking and sharing ideas and listening to speakers and bringing in you know, state or national speakers to fire up your party, to get them to go out and push for the next 2 to 3 weeks to bring a victory for our team. The Democrats have a dinner very similar, and, you know, both sides do it. However, on Saturday, with 17 days to go before this most important election, probably the single greatest election of our time, and the Delaware County Republican Party couldn't interest people enough to show up and to shell out some money to help the party, to sit around and fellowship with like-minded people, to sit around and listen to speakers. Now, granted, the speaker that they pulled in is a lovely man. I've met him. I know him personally. He's a nice guy. He is not an interesting guy. Has an important role in state government, but it is not an interesting role. It is a thing of sheer boredom. He's not interesting. He's very dry. And I mean him no disrespect. I'm just calling it like it is. I'm not a big fan of Diego Morales. I'm not a big fan of Jim Banks. I'm a veteran. Look at me. Did you guys know that I was a Marine? You know, look, I'm all for supporting the Marines. But that dude gets up and says, Marine. Hello, my name is Jim Marine. I am running for Marine. And I drank some Marine and ate some Marine today. I mean, it's like, dude, enough. Stand down, Marine. You know? There was a time when the Delaware County Republican Party could poll heavyweights such as these. Now, I think that those people are jokes. The point is, why could we not do something like that 17 days before the election? So they cancel the dinner because people don't want to go. People aren't showing up. Then they do this thing where they play this petty game of, yeah, well, we know it's canceled. Now, let me tell you how disgusting this is. The person that was going to cater the food had already bought the food. They already had this woman go out and purchase all the food for this thing. I hope to God they pay her. I hope they give her money.
She's catering an event for how many people usually go?
Lots. I mean,
100?
More than that.
Okay, 200?
200 people, maybe.
You're catering an event for 200 people. They didn't cancel it till the day before. She bought that food 3 or 4 days ago because she has 3 or 4 days of cooking to do.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah. Absolutely. I hope they give her money. I mean, I hope they make her right. It's gross. It's nuts. It's sad. It's nuts. You know, I stood before the Delaware County Council meeting a couple months ago, and the reason I say this is because when standing before the Delaware County Council meeting, you're standing before a room full of elected officials. However, you're also standing before the Republican Party chairman, because Ed Carroll is the secretary for the council as the auditor. One of the auditor's jobs is they're the secretary for the council and the commissioners. So Auditor Ed Carroll is in the room, and Council President Jessica Piper is in the room. And I stood before them and I addressed them as elected officials, a whole lot of them. And I said, I hope that you're not going home and patting yourselves on the back thinking, boy, we did a good job today. Boy, we are great public servants. We are really killing it doing the will of the people, and we deserve praise and admiration. We are wonderful. I said, I hope that you guys go home and you're disappointed in yourselves. You're as disappointed as we are. You're as disgusted as we are. Now, they didn't like all of that. Jessica didn't like it, whatever. I'm sure they didn't. I'm sure they didn't spend any time thinking that these people are the head narcissist of all narcissists. They think that they are truly somebody. One of the reasons I was saying that is because I was speaking to the whole lot of them. I was speaking to all elected officials in that moment that were listening, but I was specifically also speaking to Ed Carroll as party chairman and Jessica as vice chairman. And because I talked about the fact that they were all Republicans, it wasn't like it was a split where, you know, some of the people went off into the Republican corner and some went off into the Democrat corner. And so it's just mind-boggling to me. So they cancel this party, and they only tell some county people. They don't tell the city Republicans. It's a whole big flub. It's just absolutely insane. And so, you know, I've got emails. I've got emails from people that reached out to these people and were like, hey, what's going on? And they just weren't getting back and telling anybody. So now what's interesting is to watch what unfolded in the Delaware County Council meeting from today. And yeah, it was the Delaware County government meeting. It was let me see here. Delaware County meeting. They dealt with a lot of important stuff, but there is some party stuff that is starting to work itself over into the public meeting. And we're getting a glimpse that, hey, it's not all sausages and flowers and sausages in the Republican Party. There are some serious issues going on. And so I want to take a moment and I want to play for you this rather bizarre scene. This rather bizarre scene from the Delaware County Council meeting that occurred today. And I want you guys to watch this. And I want to know your thoughts on what we're seeing here. All right, hold on here a second. Let me get this. Let me get this. All right, hold on. Yeah, here we go. Okay, here we go. All right, we're going to take this meeting a little out of order this tonight. So we're starting at the very end of the meeting. We're past public comment, and we're going to go into elected official or council comments, okay? And I want you to listen to what happens here. Now, it's a little quiet, so we're going to do what we do where I play it. And then when I want to start talking, what I'm going to do is you're going to have to turn your volume up a little bit to hear this. So I'm going to play this. When I start it, turn your volume up. Then when I want to talk, I will pause it and I will hold my finger up so you can know to turn your volume down a little bit. I apologize. I normally would have fixed this, but we got at it late. Today was a hectic day. So just bear with me. It's their fault, not mine. I wish they would hire someone better than Slusher, but it is what it is. So, maybe that's something that we can get changed in January. We'll see. Okay, here we go.
I can assure you that a total compensation survey properly executed and a program that's properly maintained will improve morale and promote job security. So,
Thank you. All right, anyone else from the public? All right, comments from council. Have any?
I'd like to comment briefly on the budget. It's a very aggressive budget. I am pleased that we were able to make personnel really our central focus and do some things that needed to be done, and we had the resources to do it. But there are a dozen different things that can go wrong next year that are going to put our budget in jeopardy. So it's going to be tight. We're going to have to be vigilant, and I guess issue a warning to office holders and department heads that try to stay within your budget. There's not any extra out there. And then I want to say a particular thank you to Jessica and Matt for their hard work in making the spreadsheets and making the numbers right. And thanks to Tanya and Elizabeth and Keita and Ed and the rest of his staff for their many hours of work. It was a very, very labor intensive process because we were adjusting all the line items. We were implementing or using the guidelines of the salary study. But it all came together, and I'm very appreciative of that. Thank you. Yeah, I just would reiterate what he said. Thank you to the auditor's office and then the yeoman's for Pickett and to Jessica and Matt, because it was an effort. I bet we've got close to 60 hours in it, and I bet they got a lot more than that.
Maybe 20, 30
I
more
speak
hours.
about this also.
Yeah.
So it's been extremely frustrating this year, working with the councils in general. And those words are spoken from employees in our office. Neighbors receive a lot of requests. For example, yesterday afternoon around 2:30, we were dropped multiple ordinances, and the girls had to drop everything and go through them and found errors within the ordinances. So on top of that, they had to copy all of them and change the agenda. They had to work over last night, all because of the lack of planning. That's just one example of several during the school budget process. It's always at the last minute dropping things. Hey, we need this done now. I think that needs to change.
Well, I can recall this is the first time we've sent any ordinances on a Monday, but these were ordinances that we were informed during budget that we had to do. And we were doing our budget now, and we want to make sure that we were keeping our works. I know there was some nervousness by some of the departments when we had to take people back to their base. We wanted to make sure we smoothed that out. So we were doing this because it was at the direction of what process had to be done for us to do these experience pay. So I will apologize.
Okay. So you can tell anytime that Jessica, the highlighter queen, is upset and mad, because listen, now Jessica is not a big woman at all. She's not a big woman. I'm not saying that. I'm a fat man. Okay. I am not here to make fun of literally anybody. I stand behind me because I'm first in line for all of that. But you can always tell when Jessica is mad because she does this thing that is god awful. Which, let me tell you, for a stick figure is unbecoming. You know, like, and what kills me is she's the queen of taking pictures. She's the queen of taking pictures, and everyone in the world, every woman, and I've seen her pictures, every one of them is the duck face, the sucked in cheeks, and so you know that you do stuff from up high, you never take it from down here, and moreover, you don't ever want to do this. And so that's the very first time. You can always tell the highlighter queen is mad because the very first, it's like some kind of like instinctual thing. She tucks her chin to like save her throat area. She tucks her chin and she immediately turns red. She goes from being that amazing hue of yellow that she is, like a highlighter, see-through, transparent, the highlighter queen, to being red mad and does that weird thing with her face. Now, listen to me. It's the natural defensive move. It's just so strange. Here's the thing with her and Ed. Now, understand, these two people are the first and second in command of the Republican Party. And I have been hearing that behind the scenes, things are getting tense, that they are bickering and not doing things and not working well together. And the good old days are long gone. And now it's everything is bad. And now you've got Jessica's the president of the council. And so you've got her big man, Ed, who's in here saying, I just want to let you guys know that working with the council through this budget session has been extremely frustrating. And, you doing this and dropping off things for... First of all, Ed always plays the victim. Ed, you're an elected official. You sat on your ass in your office doing Republican Party work on county time. To me, it's Hatch Act violation stuff. I don't understand how you should be in trouble. You should be in lots of trouble. You are committing Hatch Act violations. You have... Listen, as sure as I'm sitting here and as sure as I am wearing a black shirt and as sure as it is Tuesday, Ed Carroll has committed Hatch Act violations doing political party stuff on government time. He comes in, checks out, comes in late, checks out early. He's got a really cush job. And so if every now and then you're asked to work overtime, your girls are asked to work overtime, you guys have to do a little extra to fill in. Shut up and do it. And I don't want to hear you complain about it. You're being paid handsomely to be in that position. You know what you could do, Ed? You could resign tomorrow and all this would go away. All this would go away. Okay. Now, it's not done because it's getting ready to get a little bit more. All right. I just want to let you know, it's interesting that Ed came after them the way he did. Then Jessica is like apologizing to him, but she's being defensive. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, this is the nitpicking. This is the death of the Republican Party playing out in front of us in real time. The only thing that sucks is the taxpayers are paying for it to watch it. So let's continue on. Turn your volumes up now.
they didn't come in till late. But we discussed this during budget, and I had a list of things for Ben to work on.
I was told that this was not urgent. Isn't that right, Matt? In fact, at one point, you made the statement that you didn't know if you were gonna do it this year.
I never said that. How would I have said that? Because we have to have it in place prior to January 1.
I'm not saying, what I'm saying is you made the statement to me that there's no guarantees we're gonna do this shit this year, and that there was no urgency to getting this done. This is during our meeting when I asked you and Jessica to come in and Bill came in.
Do they or do they not have to be done by January 1? In order for it to take place and to get paid on
That's the
January
point.
1.
The point is you said that there was no urgency, and then at the last minute, these get dropped in our laps.
I don't recall saying that, first of all, but secondly, whether I did or didn't at that particular time, the reality was the SBOA feedback that your office gave us was we needed to initiate this base pay as adopting the budget with the base pays. And then we need to put it into ordinances to initiate a new experience pay line, which needs to get done. This is first reading. This is October. We have till November. That gives your office, which you also indicated needs that time to do all this, all of December potentially to get that accomplished. That's why we pushed it.
I understand why, but that's not the point.
Well, I don't understand the point then.
What? That's-
I mean, and our last meeting was on Wednesday, and these were all my to-do list items. So we went through the list to make sure we had everything for Ben to work on. So I didn't anticipate it being a surprise that they were coming through. So again, I'll apologize for that if there was a misunderstanding on that, but we have to get a first reading in so we can get a second reading in and we can have a conversation about getting this all in place. Cause we're already in Q4 here, like we're at the end of the year. Like, I mean, it's not like it has to be done tomorrow. We didn't, suspend the rules and push it through. But we needed to get the ball rolling, and if nothing else, just to make sure we kept people, just let people know we were keeping our word, that when we took their salaries down to their base, we weren't just doing it to save money. We actually have a plan in place.
Nesbitt.
Yes.
Budget time is always a little tricky. It's always a long, laborious process. Involves the council, auditor's office, department heads, lots of people. There's always a lot of wrinkles that come up. This year in particular was more unusual than in previous years because there was a push by the council, and I'm gonna give these guys the credit, because I wanted to wait and take this job study and this, salaries and kind of, it was a big project. I didn't think we could get it in this year's budget. Credit to the council, we did get it in this year's budget, but that did not come without hiccups. It did not come without some late nights. It did not come without some last minute requests. And if we're going to get the longevity, the experience pay, get all these county employees the large, significant pay increase that every one of you deserve, and it sometimes it's gonna come with a few unexpected hiccups, and that sometimes that means we have to stay late. Sometimes that means we have to come in more meetings than what we originally planned, and that's just part of it. And we got to remember that it's not about making it easier on us. It's about doing right by the employees and by the citizens. So that's the first thing I want to say. Everybody did a really good job of working together on that and getting it done. So kudos to everybody. Even though it was a little tricky, it got done. The other thing I just wanted to mention is, today's Tuesday. The election is 2 weeks from today. I encourage everyone to go vote. You can vote early. We have early voting going on downstairs all the way up till the election, I believe, up till 4 o'clock. So I encourage everyone to go vote. Do not sit this one out. And the last thing I was going to say, this was brought up to me. I was really hoping that our county clerk, Mr. Spangler, was here because I was going to ask him to clarify. I had a couple people reach out to me, and this is based off of something that Rick Spangler had said at a previous meeting, and he made some comment regarding they were being very proactive. His office was being very proactive, ensuring election integrity in Delaware County, making sure that only the people who are meant to vote are voting. And we all see the news. We've heard about illegal immigration, and that, well, it doesn't just. It's not like Delaware County is excluded from that. We've got plenty of illegal immigrants right here in Delaware County, particularly Venezuela. And I just wanted to reassure those people who were curious and worried that there may be people voting locally in our elections that shouldn't be, that our county clerk has assured us that he is being proactive and his team is being proactive. I think he even said they were going door to door at one point to ensure that only legal voters will be casting votes in Delaware County. So I just wanted to pass that on and ease anyone's mind who might be concerned about that, that we do have some people in the community who are working on it. So that's all I had.
All right, any other comments from council?
I have one, but Sherry's here.
Oh, hi.
Yes, I'm sorry. Commissioner Regan had another meeting, but I'd like to slip in and thank
Sure.
everybody for working together. And I'd like to see a show of hands, because you bring up a good point in this, Councilman Webb. How many of you have ever volunteered election day at a precinct? Please raise your hand. Thank you for your service. Now, the other ones that didn't raise their hands, those might be the people that question our election system. When you come to work at a precinct, we do have to ask if you're one party or the other party, so we don't have one party controlling it. So that evening, when all the votes come back.
No. I don't know what she's talking about. So sorry. I forgot to do that. Sometimes I forget. I'm sorry. This woman needs to go. Okay? She needs to go. She is not relevant. She's not been relevant. She's a dingbat, and unfortunately, no one's running against her. It's the problem that we get with her is that just no one runs against her. No one runs against her. Troy threw his hat in the ring on the last day of the election. He probably shouldn't have. He didn't. He didn't run. I don't think his heart was in it. I think he was really defeated because he was a city councilor. He was a damn good city councilor. He's part of the problem. They worked so hard to get rid of him because he dared to work for the people instead of just bend over backwards to lick the mayor's backside. And they were so afraid of him that they worked to get rid of him, and they got rid of him because of some paperwork errors. But yet when they have paperwork errors, it's like, no big deal, no big deal. When there's no such thing as setting precedent. Okay. All right. I get it. Whatever. That's a good thing. Good thing to know. Good thing to know. We're going to get up to what we're going to finish. We're going to finish. I just want to say this for one moment. This is also the death of the Republican Party. And let me explain to you why. Miss Reagan, an elected Republican Party candidate, is openly endorsing and supporting Democrat Judge Kim Dowling and Democrat candidate for Commissioner Ashley Wright. Now, as an American, she has the right to support, endorse, and vote for whoever she so chooses to vote for. As an elected official, she has the right to want to work with whoever she wants to work with and support and endorse. As a member of the Republican Party, she does not have that ability. And what she has done and what she is doing in openly and flagrant, say it.
Flagrantly.
Yes, I knew I couldn't say it. Openly and just in our faces, supporting Democrat candidates. She is no longer a Republican in good standing. And I have heard that Ed has proof of this. Now, the Republican Party under Ed and Jessica worked so hard to they wanted to kick out Andrew Pop, and they wanted to kick out Ryan Webb, and they wanted to kick out Troy Ingram, and they wanted to kick out Chad Mock and all these other people because they didn't consider them Republicans in good standing. Ed has proof from emails, from elected officials, from folks with proof of her doing this. So my question is, are we going to see the Republican Party of Delaware County before they croak and go away? Are we going to see them put her out no longer in good standing? What are we going to see? Ed is getting pushed to do this, but he's also pushing back. So I just wanted to put that up while we're hearing. Now we're going to hear what she's got to say here, the rest of it. But she is wrong. When you go to the polling place this time, no one is going to ask you if you're a Republican or a Democrat. Nobody should ask you that. Matter of fact, if someone asks you if you're a Republican or a Democrat in this election, meaning in this November election, tell them to stick it, because you don't need to know that. They only ask that in the primaries, and they don't ask if you're a Republican or a Democrat. They're asking you if you want a Republican ballot or a Democrat ballot. That's what they're asking, not if you're a Republican or Democrat, because as a citizen, you can grab whatever ballot you want. Okay, so that's very important to know. I don't know what she's saying here. They shouldn't, or they shouldn't be asking that. So, okay, here we go.
They have two people opening them, sending them downstairs. One's a R and one's a D. So the whole system is very safe. So trust me. But I would like to add one thing to your comment. Yes, you can come to the county building and vote. Right now, it's 8:30 to 4 o'clock. There was something that went out with the wrong time, or it went out correct, but when the person read it, they put it wrong. So it's 8:30 to 4. This Saturday and next Saturday, they also will be here, 8:30 to 4. But come Monday, the day before, it closes at noon.
Yeah.
You have to be in line inside the door to vote noon. Is that correct? I believe it is.
In line,
Just
you don't
in
have to be
line.
Inside the door.
You have to be inside the door, huh?
You don't have to be inside the door, you just have to.
You have to be in line, man.
And the line might
If
be
the
down the
line
hallway.
stretches out the door, you're fine. You just got to be in line.
Yes, and they do put somebody down there
Yeah.
somehow. So thank you and congratulations.
Congratulations.
Go ahead,
One
Matt.
other thing. Thanks, Sherry, for that. I think we're having record turnout from the clerk's office currently, so, early voting, it appears. He said this was a couple days ago, he was averaging 500 plus a day, so, obviously I encourage everybody to do that. And thank you to Rick and his staff for the work they're doing to make it, very expedient to try to get in there, even though it's crowded, so thank them for that. I want to thank personally Elizabeth, Tanya, Keita, Marissa, and the auditor's office. I think you guys have done a great job with us this year. I appreciate all the work that you've helped us with, because it's not been simple or easy, and definitely there's been last minute things and all that. So I just want to say thank you for all your help.
Thank you. Does not go unnoticed. it's a lot of time, and for those that don't have to be here, they don't realize how much time it is, and you've all been very accessible and very thorough in explaining, because there are times where I know we asked the same question in like 3 different ways that was still the same question, and you had the patience to continue to just walk us through and make sure we understood what was going on, and that's appreciated. So thank you. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
President Piper,
Oh, what?
I'd like to make a couple of short comments.
Okay, yeah.
In response to Commissioner Reagan, some of us are unable to commit the time to volunteer and work at polls and precincts just with being a farmer and harvesting that. I am not able to do that. So some of us are unable to. Going along with that, being a farmer,
What in the hell,
on
man?
Sunday night, I had a call from a neighbor. I had cornfield on fire. Somebody had thrown a cigarette butt out their window on Highway 35. Luckily, they caught it before it got much bigger than a hula hoop. But I just want to make a public service plea. Please be aware and careful. We are in a drought situation. Field fires can happen in an instant. Please don't throw anything out that could cause a fire. And then one more follow-up is to the county highway. Also being a farmer, I was able to drive my combine down 2 county roads within the last 3 days, where I used to drag the top of my roof of the combine, my mirrors, but they've done an excellent job of clearing the brush, clearing trees. And I just wanted to give a special mention to the county highway department for that. Thank you very much. Thank you, President Piper.
All right, anyone else?
Motion to adjourn? Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Eugene, roll call.
All right, so Karen, I get the whole thing. Listen, the calling them officials. The point, the reason I call them elected officials, it doesn't. I'm not saying like, oh, they're official, blah 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 blah. It's the point is there's a difference between like an elected official and a county employee. They're all public servants. When you're a police officer, you're a public servant. When you're an elected, it's a way of distinguishing between what the roles of government are. I get where you're coming from with it and whatnot, but I'm not giving them any more status. It's just a way of denoting between someone who's in Ted Baker, who doesn't get paid. He's an appointed member of the Board of Works. And so that's the reason I do that. And I know you and I always go back and forth on that. We always go back and forth on that, but I definitely understand. Okay, so that's really interesting to me to see that pushback, because what's really interesting about this is Ed had already sent out his gripe in an email to Jessica and Matt, and there was a back and forth between Ed, Jessica, and Matt. Now, in hearing about this, I did immediately today send a record request to hold on one second. I don't even know what this is. Sorry, I was reading this record. So I did send a record request today to the Delaware County Council asking for the email between Ed, Matt, and Jessica. And I sent that out, and hopefully we will have that email soon. I guess I was kind of in a roundabout way hoping that the way that I sent it, I would have one of them send it to me directly today. Very similar to the way that like say Councilman William Hughes would do, Bill Hughes. Anytime I've sent him, he's just immediately sent response because he's sharp enough to know that they're public records. I would assume that Matt and Matt and Ed and Jessica, they probably don't want these emails out because it makes the party look bad. It makes them, look dysfunctional. And so they're probably not liking the fact that I know the emails exist. They probably don't like the fact that I'm asking for them. I don't particularly care. It's public documents. You have to give it to me. So I will get it. I was hoping to have it tonight, but we'll cover it whenever. The main point of this is, ladies and gentlemen, the Republican Party in Indiana, in Delaware County, is circling the drain. And that's not, I talked to somebody today that was making phone calls for a candidate, and we were talking, and I got to thinking, some people would think like, ooh, this is scary. Like, if the Republican Party goes, it'll be all Democrat. No. There are good conservative people in Delaware County. There are good constitutionally minded, normal human beings that would be able to step up and do right. And they're people like, Ron Crouch, Tim Nickum, somebody that I think would be an excellent leader for the party. And I've said this from a very long time ago, would be the current elected sheriff of Delaware County. The current elected sheriff of Delaware County, Tony Skinner. He would be an amazing county party chairman. Now, I don't see this party being saved. I hope that Ed and Jessica just go ahead and push it the rest of the way off the cliff, and then we can pick up and we can get things moving from there. The last thing that I want to mention with this county party coming to an end is also this very horrible thought, this very horrible statement that has been made by idiot Ed Carroll, mindless Ed Carroll. This is supposed to be the shining beacon of the Republican Party, supposed to be this brain trust of an individual, while talking to a group of candidates and Republican politicos recently. Ed apparently addressed the rumor that one of their current Republican candidates also apparently has a job offer with governor, a candidate, Mike Braun, if Braun is to win. So there's currently a candidate running for office in Delaware County. And that candidate is none other than Bradley Bookout. And apparently, Bookout has some kind of an offer to work in Braun's administration if Braun wins. What this does is it places Delaware County in a very precarious position, because if Bookout wins, I'm hoping he doesn't win, but if he wins, and he probably will at least win one of the seats, one of the 3 seats. The rumor is if he wins and Braun wins, that he is going to resign his seat and take the position with Braun. If that happens, the Republican Party would then caucus in his replacement. And Ed Carroll made the comment, apparently openly, that if that in fact happens, he already has at least 2 people that he would be willing to go to bat for. Does anyone want to take a guess who one or both of those people would be? Kate says King. You got a second guess? Kate? Anybody else have a guess out there? If Bookout wins and then takes the position with Braun, if Braun wins, who would Ed Carroll Oh, God, you guys are funny. So Ed Carroll, apparently during a recent candidate event, meet and greet candidate event, I don't know, wake of the Republican Party, I don't know what it was. He said that if this in fact happens, there are 2, and this is his words, there are 2 people that have done so much for the Republican Party that he would be willing to go to bat for one or both of these guys to the precinct committee people, and he would gladly help them and hope that either one of them would win. James King and Mike Jones, 2 Democrats. 2 Democrats who, when the going got tough there, switched to be Republicans and were Republicans up and until, hey, Tim, up and until they then didn't like what was going on in the party, and King decided to run against our sheriff, which was stupid. And then after that happened, they kind of reverted back to being Democrats again. In this primary, they were openly telling people, like Sherry Riggin, they were openly telling people to poll Democrat ballots. So as far as I'm concerned, that makes them not in good standing with the party. And I cannot believe that Ed would say this. And I'm going to tell you, people, everything that you have heard here tonight. Yeah, that's good. Very good point. Well, that's the trifecta, Tweety Bird. He's the trifecta. King, Mike Jones, book out. They're one and the same person. That is the trifecta of Democrats switch to be Republicans. Basically, what they do is they go with the flow where what is better, one or the other. So I'm just letting you guys
The
know.
R by their names gets them elected, so they'll do what they have to do, and they'll put the R next to their name. That's all it boils down to.
That is
They wanted to
absolutely.
win, so they stuck an R there.
Yeah. Yeah. That is 100% exactly what's going on here. And I mean, it's crazy to me. I just don't understand why anyone would hear that and be okay with that. I think that, I mean, it's shocking that, I just think it's crazy that people would listen to this and be like, "Oh yeah, okay, I'm okay with that. Yeah, that sounds good, Ed. Yeah, all right, I'm good with that." So nah, I'm not good with that. Ed is a knob, and I want him to kill the party off as soon as he can, so we can start again. Him and the highlighter queen. Take it down. So that's what's going on with the Republican Party in Delaware County. Listen, I have worked death investigation scenes, multiple death investigation scenes, natural death, suicide, murder, and I can tell you that. Yeah, I've taken a lot of pulses on dead bodies, and I'm just standing here. I'm ready to take the pulse of the Delaware County Republican Party and officially pronounce it dead. It's very close, folks. It's very, very close. So that's that. Now, I do want to quickly give an update about the stand by here 1 second. I have issued a record request, as you guys know, to the Delaware County government, looking for information pertaining to the Westdell situation. I should be receiving that completed request here very soon. And if you recall, I asked for people to reach out and talk to me if they knew anything, or contact me. In requesting all of this information and talking to new people, I received a message from someone who, under condition of anonymity, told me that they wanted to tell me that I needed to request something specific, that when I went over my request with all of you, they didn't think that would be covered under the request that I made. And I was like, sure. Sorry. That's never good. To yawn in front of you guys. I'm sorry about that. So I issued a record request to the Delaware County Board of Health today. And what I requested was the following. I requested all documents pertaining to the grant that the Delaware County Health Department issued Westdell Community School Corp. I requested anything describing the grant application, the terms of the grant, and anything else pertaining to that grant. And I requested that today directly from the Delaware County Health Department Administrator, Jamie Bain. And so hopefully he'll get that to me pretty quickly. I don't think they deal with lots and lots and lots and lots of record requests in the way that I've requested it per se. So I think that it's something he'll be able to get to me pretty quickly. So that's there. And so we'll be talking about that soon. Man, I don't ever like yawning in front of you guys. I apologize. I'm so sorry. That's horrible. Today has been a day. The only other thing that I have to say, is yes. Wait a minute. Hold on. So Brenda, let's do this one. Brenda Smoker, Cannon, Oliver. When you say the Westdell situation, are you not familiar with what I'm talking about? David LaRue, about the what? About the GOOOOG. What's that? Okay. Yes. Smoker. So if you want, there is a great episode that I did on this for you to catch up on. I did this back last week. It's episode 304. Episode 304. And it's called episode 304, Westdell Community School shit show. Play on words. And we talked about it for the entire show. Matter of fact, because I'm seeing that you are on Facebook. Give me 1 second here, and I will send it to you. Okay, so yeah, I pulled that up here. Let me look here, and I will tell you. The only other thing before we end that I wanted to say is I told you guys that I wanted to.
The Westall episode is shared in the comments.
Okay, kick ass. Thank you. Thank you for that, Kate. So the only other thing that I wanted to say to you guys was Rob Kendall today. I was driving and I was in the middle of a conversation. Damn it. I apologize. You're just gonna have to bear with me on that. I'm so sorry. I was in the middle of a conversation, so I didn't get to listen to all of it. But Rob Kendall was talking. I don't know who was filling in for Casey, but he was saying, and then we've got people that are questioning why Beckwith would be working with J.D. Prescott, on this bill. And it's like, well, he's going to work with anybody. It's amazing it's amazing how quickly Rob has turned it all around, being that he does not care for does not care for or hasn't cared for JD Prescott. And so it's really crazy that he's now just, going to bat for these people and really just kind of like taking one for the team on all of this. Very crazy. And what's interesting to me is, like, he's doing things and saying things like today he put out a tweet that said, I want to pull this tweet up because it is quite comical. So today he puts out a tweet that there we go. There we go. Brenda, I sent it to you in your messenger, ma'am. So Prescott's tweet today says, I'm going to see if I can put it in the, here we go. Let me show you guys. I want to show you this to you, because it does better to show it to you than to read it to you so you guys can see it. He was talking about his like how his year 2024 has been so crazy, and it's like so wild because like things are happening now that have not happened before. And so this is that tweet. Might be a little hard for you guys to see, but the tweet says, Rob's tweet says, weirdest part of 2024 is for the first time in many years, I'm welcome into the on Twitter, that's the Indiana Republican Party events without some security professional politely asking me to leave, ... And then he's shared below the Micah Beckwith tweet, join us this Tuesday night from 6 to 8 at the Hamilton County Fairgrounds Exhibit Hall A with special guest Rob Kendall at Rob N. Kendall. And, I just felt that I needed to be like, so is this where Rob N. Kendall will get his 30 pieces of silver? Or has he already gotten them? Like, it's not weird, Rob. You're selling out, bro. That's what happens when you sell out. When you sell out and you become part of the establishment hacks, you're welcomed into the Republican establishment hack team. Dude, that's what goes on. I don't get it. It's not that difficult to understand this. Like he's acting like this is some kind of like, oh my God, they're letting me in all of a sudden. Well, listen. And what's funny is I'm still getting these nitwits from the Beckwith team saying, what has you so panicked with Beckwith, bro? Nothing. Not a damn thing has me panicked with him. He is a nobody. Listen, what's one more establishment hack? What is one more establishment hack? Let me tell you, Not a damn thing. One more isn't anything. Doesn't mean anything. It's not going to change anything. Nothing's going to be, done, I mean, it doesn't mean anything. There's nothing, not going to be anything better, not going to be anything different. It's just, it is what it is. So we have 100 Indiana House of Representatives officials. So the House of Representatives, there are 100 districts in the state of Indiana. And of those 100, 70 of them are Republican and 30 are Democrat. Okay? 70 are Republicans and 30 are Democrat. In the Indiana Senate, we have the Indiana Senate, and there are 50 state senators. Okay? So there are 100 state representatives and there are 50 state senators. Out of those 50 state senators, 39 are Republican and 10 are Democrat. And one of them is a Republican that doesn't caucus. It's kind of like in the other category, but it's a Republican. So there are 40 Republicans and there are 10 Democrats. So if you add that total together, all right, that means out of the 150 elected public servants that are in the if out of the 150 state Indiana General Assembly characters that we have, 150, there are 110 of them that are Democrats, and 40 of them are 110 of them are Republicans, and 40 of them are Democrats. Eric Holcomb is currently a Republican. Susan Crouch is a Republican. They're all do-nothings. If you add Braun to the mix and you add Beckwith to the mix, nothing changes. So it's not that I am like, oh, panicked. Oh my God, I'm panicked over Beckwith. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that he was this big grassroots outsider push for 2 years. 2 years. He wins on the 15th of June, 14th of June. And by July 4th, he is an establishment hack, no different from Todd Houston's other wannabes, J.D. Prescott, Corey Criswell, and on and on and on and on and on. It's no different. However, what's funny to me is the Indiana Capital Chronicle, which is a big political operation out of Indianapolis, ran an interesting article today in their online magazine. Wage garnishments and traffic violations. What impact do candidate legal woes have on voters? Now, what's interesting here is I see red and blue, but I don't see any yellow gloves. Okay, and this was authored by Whitney Downard. All right. And Whitney says, with just 2 weeks to go until the November 5th election, the race to succeed Governor Eric Holcomb as the state's top leader has hit breakneck speed, with the Indiana Republican Party repeatedly sending out mailers attacking the Libertarian candidate. The latest charges continue to label Donald Rainwater as a deadbeat loser, citing his decades-old failure to pay child support that resulted in financial judgments and wage garnishments. Granted that he has corrected that problem, he fully paid everything, and he has righted the ship and is sailing smoothly now. Smoothly sailing. But the wages of GOP nominee for lieutenant governor have also been garnished. Why are we not hearing Rob going on and on and on and on about this? Because listen, while Rob's friend Micah's garnishments and hard time didn't seem to be for as long a period as Don's, it definitely happened later than Don's. Don's last financial misstep ended with really a step in fixing everything, filing bankruptcy. And from 2009 forward, he's only done better and better and better. And now everything is running smoothly as it should be. He overcame the issue. Micah Beckwith, on the other hand, had his wages with the White River Christian Church in Noblesville, where he was a pastor between 2009 and 14, garnished twice. Once in 2010 and again in 2011. The first was for $1,728 in credit card debt, while the latter was the result of not paying a $5,000 plus judgment for Embroid Me, a personalized printing embroidery company that Beckwith lists himself as the former franchisee of, according to his LinkedIn. Both charges have since been paid in full and resolved, as was Don's a lot longer ago, 15, 20 years ago. But how much do the above judgments dating back as far as 2000 resonate with voters? And moreover, should it? All right. Chad Kinsella, a local political professor from Ball State, says it's effective, and there are people who do it who know what they're doing. My students would say, I just throw those away as I get them. The mailers have 5 or 6 seconds from the time people look at them to the garbage, which is true. Absolutely. But they're very, very effective. Otherwise, candidates wouldn't pay so much money for them. Rainwater dismissed the latest round of attacks, pointing to the current fiscal missteps at the state level surrounding Medicaid. The state fund had a $1 billion shortfall nearly a year ago, and an ongoing whistleblower lawsuit alleges the state overpaid hospitals and insurers by $724 million. At the same time, certain Medicaid services have a months-long waiting list. While some people might be interested in whether a candidate for public office has had financial problems in their past, I believe that most Hoosier taxpayers are much more concerned with how their current office holders and bureaucrats have managed and mismanaged their tax dollars, Rainwater said in a statement. It's one thing to encounter personal financial struggles and recover from it. It's quite another to make a $1 billion accounting error or pay over $724 million in Medicaid overbilling while making thousands of Hoosiers sit on a waiting list for months, if not years, waiting for their promised assistance. Beckwith has also been cited twice for not wearing a seatbelt, which I just simply don't care about. Once in Huntington County in 2007 and another time in Carroll in 2015. His first traffic violation in my case was in Huntington County for failing to yield to an emergency vehicle. I would have had a problem with that one, but only when I was police. Beckwith reached through his campaign, didn't respond to questions. Oh no. Barring the door, Beckwith, he's hiding from these questions. What's he doing? Moving down the road, Micah won't stop to answer. We better hear from it 9 to noon tomorrow with Rob Kendall show. Why will Beckwith not answer these? Matter of fact, Beckwith was on just pointing fingers at Don in the last week. Why didn't he bring this stuff up? Didn't he say if he had this stuff in his past and he was Rainwater, he would have brought this up first and foremost? So this calls into question exactly like I knew. I watched this. We talked about it last week. We talked about this very stuff. I broke this news last week. Beckwith had this in his record last week. Why are we now not on some kind of major witch hunt for Beckwith? Beckwith won't respond. We need to know what the deal is. Most candidates, like many Hoosiers, will appear in my case for one reason or another, ranging from speeding tickets, evictions, divorce proceedings, and business lawsuits. A search for the GOP gubernatorial candidate Mike Braun with his birthday on my case brought up 2 speeding tickets, one in Pike County in 2000, another in Davies County in 92. Braun is the Republican nominee for the top spot, running with Beckwith. A search for Democratic candidate Jennifer McCormick is complicated by her past public service. Having been the last superintendent of public instruction as a Republican between 2016 and 2020, during that time, any case that was filed against or on behalf of the state's Department of Education would also include her name. So she's going to have tons and tons and tons of filings. So it would be kind of hard to go through there and weed out. Searching with McCormick's birth date and the middle initial to kind of cut down on all of this didn't yield any judgments against her. Well, good for her. Running mate, former state rep Terry Gooden, also appears in court records as part of a 2012 legal battle over pay that includes the entire General Assembly for divorce proceedings. While the name Tanya Hudson, the Libertarian nominee for lieutenant governor, pulled up several cases, none of them could be definitively tied to the Hudson currently running for office by using her birth date. Strangely enough, I know 3 Tanya Hudsons, and none of them are the nominee running for. So technically, I know 4. I don't know Tanya Hudson, the Libertarian. I don't know Don's Libertarian running mate, but she would technically be the 4th. Rainwater's record appears to stem from a series of financial problems from, I'll say, 94 to 2008. Previously, he said that the legal issue surrounded a failure to pay child support and subsequently being held in contempt, and it's all been resolved. Okay, so you can go on and read the rest of this. It's an interesting read, but it points out the fact that, again, coming all the way back, you should definitely take care of that plank in thine own eye there, Republican Party, Rob Kendall, Micah Beckwith, Mike Braun. Maybe it would help you avoid the embarrassment of what's currently happening. It's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But this is what happens when we have Republicans who are more concerned about power and money and retaining their power and staying on top and staying in control than they are about doing the work that they were sent there to do. That's the problem. That's the problem. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back here tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wednesday. I do want to remind everybody that there is a Muncie City Council meeting at 5:30 tomorrow, a special meeting at 5:30 tomorrow. We will be live streaming that meeting right here. So tune in for that if you're so interested. And I also am going to be looking into the deal with the Muncie Fire Department and the whole non-union thing. So we'll talk about that more tomorrow. We got a lot on the plate, folks. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your Tuesday. Have a great Wednesday. God bless each and every one of you. Please, before you walk out, go and give us a like, share the show with everyone you know. That helps us more than anything. We appreciate you all very, very, very much. Take care. God bless and good night.